Hello everyone, this is Father Alex Salazar, IVE priest, missioning in Canada, and today is February 4th, 2024, and it is the 5th Sunday of Ordinary Time. And our reading comes from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 1, verse 29 to 39. On leaving the synagogue, Jesus entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Simon's mother-in-law lies sick with a fever. They immediately told him about her. He approached, grasped her hand, and helped her up. Then the fever left her, and she waited on them. When it was evening, after sunset, they brought to him all who were ill or possessed by demons. The whole town was gathered at the door. He cured many who were sick with various diseases, and he drove out many demons, not permitting them to speak because they knew him. Rising very early before dawn, he left and went off to a deserted place where he prayed. Simon and those who were with him pursued him, and on finding him said, "Everyone is looking for you." He told them, "Let us go on to the nearby villages, that I may preach there also. For this purpose have I come." So he went into the synagogue, preaching and driving out demons throughout the whole of Galilee. The Gospel of the Lord. In today's Gospel, we hear of the great compassion that our Lord has for the sick, for the ill, and for those who are possessed, and specifically for the illness of Simon's mother-in-law, of Peter's mother-in-law. That as soon as Jesus enters the house, he is told about the fever that Peter's mother-in-law has. He goes immediately to her, grabs her by the hand, lifts her up, and the fever leaves her. And then the Gospel says that she waited on them. In other words, she put herself at the service of their needs. That this was a sign of gratitude that she had because of the gratefulness of the grace she had received, the miracle of healing that she had received. She put herself at their needs. And this Gospel points to us two specific things. We can say that one is the condescending God, that God, the mystery of faith, that God descends down from heaven to come among us, that in some way many people think that God is isolated, he is self-concerning, that in some way he has no interest in human worries or affairs. But this Gospel seems to indicate otherwise, that he comes down from heaven and even grabs this woman, this ill woman, this sick woman by the hand and heals her and lifts her up. That as we know in Jewish times, sickness was considered a sign of impurity or imperfection, sinfulness. So anybody who dared to touch an ill person were to then be considered impure as well. But we know that this reality doesn't occur with God, and specifically as well in this miracle, that God descends from heaven, takes on human flesh, but he doesn't take on the sinfulness of human people. He doesn't contract original sin, nor does he identify with any sin, that he is pure. And so this in some way shows that God comes down, his purity comes down to sanctify us, to heal us, to grant us that healing touch that we so much need and desire. And then the second lesson that this Gospel teaches us is that service is a sign of gratitude, that we have all received the divine healing touch of God, whether it's the grace of our baptism, through the sacrament of confessions, or the numerous blessings and graces that we have received throughout our life, that in some way we should be grateful for them. That gratitude is demonstrated in more than just mere words. That gratitude is demonstrated in service in the things that we do. And this is why St. Clare of Assisi gives us that brief quote saying that love God, serve God, everything is in that. Or as St. Ignatius of Loyola gives us that advice as well in that meditation of the spiritual exercise, he says, love is shown more in deeds rather than in words. That the mother-in-law of St. Peter knew how to love and knew how to demonstrate that gratitude to God. specifically in the human person of Jesus Christ, in his human needs as well. That for the graces that she has received, she wanted to put herself at his service. And in some way we can say that nobody ever fixes anything in order for that item or that thing that is repaired to remain idle. And so we can say in the same way as with God. God doesn't wish to heal us so that we simply remain idle. He wishes to heal us so that we can put ourselves at his service, so that we can wait on him, so that we can put ourselves at the service of the church, at the service that of his holy name. And so we can say that God wishes to heal us so that that blessing that we receive is not only a singular blessing, a singular healing in our own person and in one individual being, but rather it produces a multiple amount of blessings in many people's souls and in many people's lives. And so let us ask God, through the intercession of our Blessed Mother, that we may always remember the healing touch that we have received from God, so that we too may place ourselves at his service for the greater glory of God. God bless.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing the gospel and homily, I invite you to share it with someone you know who may also find it rewarding, and also to subscribe to the Catholic Voice channel. Please see in the description below if you would like to receive a text message for each daily gospel and homily. Please also keep our missionary priests throughout the world in your prayers. Thank you, and God bless.